Okay. Should be working now. Dedication, 3 streams. Nice. Appreciate it. Delta, thank you very much. 33 months on. Appreciate it. As I've said, there is no requirement to subscribe. I appreciate it anyway. Okay. So I actually got a lot done in the last couple of days with this. I've been building things out and testing things. Um, and I did implement this screen the other day after the stream. So it does give you the cards and puts them in there so you can see. I can't. It's not a Kanban board deliberately because you can't drag it out. There's no. There's the status is on the card, right? And tasks that get completed will kind of increment here. We have Jeffrey working on this. So I decided to do uh, a few little changes to what I'm planning. So I started adding in some actual cards, some actual initiatives. Um, so active discussions is the intention of that is to be able to make discussions viable in here rather than just being comments that kind of have replies. Um, Rinson, welcome in. Uh, yes, you joined during an interesting conversation. So, um, these ones like on track and due this week. Maybe we could do probably on time almost. Yeah, we again, one of the things I'm trying not to do here is be too flexible on a lot of these things because I think it's like if you can be flexible, people try and adapt things, etc. So anyway, initiatives, active discussions, calendar integrations, um, planning is a key focus of the application. So I really want. I'm trying to think about what I'm adding in here, what I need to use, what I want to use to enable richer product management overall. So meetings. They would be helpful when things are in deliverables, when ready for review. If you have the meetings scheduled in here, like the meetings that are available, then you can know, oh, this is ready for review. Oh, we're going to meet next week. Let's take a look. Oh, the meeting's scheduled for the 28th. Let's not. So the idea there is to help visualize the urgency, or let people see when they're going to meet about stuff. So they don't have to go to calendars and they don't have to check if they got an invite, etc. They can see the meeting there, and we're on track and due this week, part of the same list. Yeah, really the same thing now. One is a tracking against a deliverable, one is when it's due. So right now the on track is it's more than 7 days out, and things are. This will change a little bit once I start to implement this risk level a little more. I'm still debating. So this risk level is realistically only if there's an initiative and there's a kind of a timeline set on the initiative. So the initiative, when you create an initiative, you can set a requested timeline. So that is more risk against the overall initiative on something like the profile cards, which doesn't have an initiative because it's additional data. The risk wouldn't really be there. So um, realistically, the review date, I'll go into that in a second. Right, but it's on track a thing that potentially takes more than a week to do. How do you know if it is on track? The assumption. Gotcha. So right now, I'm still trying to work on the the underlying data pieces here of how it's calculating these things. But yes, on track is progress is being made, and we're nowhere near any sort of deadlines. Right this second, this is using the review date to base this off of. Um, the idea being that a, this is a personally managed thing by the product manager. So the review date is when do I need to check in on this next, right? And the goal is to allow the product manager to see things they need to prioritize. That's really what this is meant to be. So these might not always be on track. Due this week needs attention. It might be what do you need to take care of next, right? So the goal is to try and keep them juggling their workload, but being able to see it and get notifications on it. So when you something might be realizing when the likely due date is and moving the date back. I don't want to, again, it's up to the product manager to own that. Push it back means move the date forward, yes. The product manager should be keeping an eye on these things. So this review date, initially, the review date is aimed at being a kind of a self-prioritizing mechanism to allow them to say, oh, I don't need to touch this one for another week because I've got this other stuff, or because there's a phase of planning that is, you know, planning has defining to planning to mark ready for review. So ready for review is, hey, the development team can see this. This one's in planning. This is the notifications piece. I'm still working on this. I'm still building it out. Defining is, do I know what it is that I'm building? Right. So the goal is to try and help people track the status, but not give them super flexibility over how they're doing that, because then people try and adapt procedures. So I'm being a little bit more opinionated about how that works. So I almost had 5 as a meeting yesterday. I probably hit 5 hours as well. Without context, that is hilarious. So anyway, what I'm doing now is I'm doing like procrastination stories. I'm doing pieces that help me clean up the UI and um, smooth the diagram on screen. Faithful dubious. Nancy, hello. How you doing? And Marcy, that's not necessarily unintentional. Kaizen. It's that there's recently switched jobs, so I'm in a new place, but of not being important enough yet to be in 5 hours. That means, uh, uh, no meetings. Meetings should be timed well and be purposeful. And just to be clear, the meetings my job was in were not meetings in the traditional form. They were not things that I actually put on the calendar. They were team development meetings. They were actually coding. So sorry, Mojo, I'm ruining your thunder there. There we go. Not that there won't be 5 hour meetings at some point, but planning and stuff needs time. But yeah, yes, that's why I'm adding the context. So anyway, um, so what I'm working on right this second is if you haven't seen Kaizu before, Kaizu is a product management planning application aimed at trying to smooth out the process by being a little bit opinionated in the right places and focusing on moving things forward. So initiatives are the first step. These are the ideas. These are the big picture things that product management doesn't that gets involved with, but CEOs and leadership really the ones that drive initiatives. They're the ones that, hey, we want this. How do we go about achieving this? So they put this in here, and the idea is that So as they're going through it, they commit to this initiative. They want to do this. They want to say this should happen by August 15th. This is not going to happen by August 15th, by the way, because I've 2 weeks of work is going to be a lot here. But so Kaizu allows you to create initiatives. You are able to just add a deliverable, and a deliverable is in the planning section. So product management takes over. They define their requirements building. They are defining what it is to achieve this deliverable. And the focus here is I'm not calling it a story deliberately because the deliverable can be bigger, it can be smaller, it could be epic sized, it could be like you could have many epics roll up into an initiative. So I'm not using epics, I'm not using stories. Tasks I am using, but we'll go into that in a second. So the idea here is that the product manager can lay out the requirements. What is delivering this thing? And these can be bigger, they can be smaller. So they go through and define what it is they want to see, what they want to do, right? They can have conversations, they can have meetings to refine this. They don't have to be, it's not in a box. The intention is to make everything visible to everyone, right? So once they've got the requirements built out, they can move this to ready for review, right? I'm not moving it to ready for review because this is actually what I'm using. So they can say ready for review. And what ready for review does, is putting the deliverables into this column. And again, the idea there is it's a gate. It's people can be notified of that happening. That's the goal. Like you can be notified, hey, a deliverable attached to your team has been moved to ready for review. You might want to review it, right? So again, the concept is that now this is a reviewable view, not this. It's not the same as the planning view of it. And this is showing the requirements. That's the import requirement. This is a requirement testing. And now the development team can look at this in this form and add tasks. And as they add tasks, they can define what that task is. So a requirement can have dozens of tasks. Also, a deliverable is cross-team because it's cross-project, and many teams can be involved. So if you have a DevOps task required here, you can add a DevOps task. You can add this, and this will track all the tasks for this thing, even though they'll be managed separately. They'll be on different boards, etc. So now the backlog has any items that are now marked ready for development. So once you've got a task in here, it can be marked ready for development. This one's completed, which is a bit strange because that's in progress. We probably need to finish up that part. So now the task can be defined here and marked. It can be moved to a sprint. Once it's ready for development, if you need it to move back, so you say it's not ready for development, you move it to backlog. You can't attach it to the sprint. It has to sit here. Once you say ready for development, you can attach it to a sprint, and that will move it out of this backlog into a sprint. Sprints, which is basically a Kanban board right this second, you can see the cards. See, I'm not attached to this, so if I go here and assign this to myself, well, there is only Jeffrey Winkle. That must be assigned to a sprint for moving to progress. Interesting. Interesting, it's not assigned to a sprint. We have a bug. Okay. The task of multiple parents, sometimes an implementation cross-cuts requirements, no. Implementation cross-cuts requirements. Depends on how you pivot that, I suppose. You can have associated tasks. Yeah. Loki down. Hey, bud. They're always merging these days, given the tools we have now, true. But the mental model of discovery versus implementation is still split so behavior. But this has a distinction, yeah. So no, you can't. A task cannot cross-cut requirements, because that would mean that it can have a dependency. So you can have associated tasks. So that's how I'd attack that piece, because then the two pieces of work could be associated. And also from a delivery perspective, in the releases, dependent tasks would be valued here. So even if a dependent task isn't pulled through, a dependent task would still be gating the progress of the thing. I, I know I know I wrote that down somewhere, but it might not be fully implemented. But it will tell you. I believe it will tell you there's dependent tasks here, so you probably want to wait. So these are now attached to actual PRs, to the branches as well. So the GitHub branch stuff is working fine. I can think of tasks that will enable devs across stories. Still attach a task like that to a single epic. I leverage AI a lot, and I've often won both the product and the developer hack my last place and will in this one as well. Given the tools, you have a technical product person can do some shipping. The reverse as well. Dev zooms out, but from what we're looking at, it's more about doing the work where it goes. You're discovering something, put it here. You've implemented something, put it here. But that's more about paperwork, yeah. Um, so on the AI topic, um, yeah, I am. By the way, I am leveraging AI. I'm using a lot of AI for the front end pieces of this application. I am not using AI too much on the development of the back end. Structuring SQL scripts, organizing migration stuff. That's where I'm using AI on the back end. Most of the hand coded on the back end. So yeah. Um, um, yeah, that's bugging me now. So yeah, so the idea is that once you've got work done and complete, you can build up a release, and you can add tasks to the release. And when PRs are made, this will show badges to show that PRs are done, merged, cancelled, etc. So you know the state of these things when you're looking at it from a release perspective. So it's taking it right through from inception to delivery is the goal, and making sure that at every point people can understand where something is sitting. That's the goal. Very much of this product is to make it visible to everyone. So the notifications piece, the initiative for introducing notifications. This again is aimed at building out a rich notification system, so you can go in here and you can say, watch. I want notifications. I want to watch for status changing. If the status changes from ready to review to defining, that's a problem. I want to be notified of that. There's different notifications. I'm planning for push notifications, email notifications, whatever notifications I want to generate. Multiple notification channels here. So that's what all this is about. This is about doing the summary style notification where once a day or a week it'll tell you, by the way, 15 tasks are created or whatever on this thing, so you can be told of things shifting. Boss likes to see me cry, I guess. Yeah. Technical product person can do some shipping. You might think of an item that should be done. Just do it outside the planning process. Can go planned item will attach to two parents and it's asked. Two, if you, depending on how you develop these, I can see that if you have two requirements on two, like you could have a requirement, if you have an initiative and you have two deliverables, each deliverable has a requirement that overlaps in terms of its what it needs, then yes, you could. You could have a task that is kind of dependent on both sides, in which case I would use the associated task feature to say these two tasks actually link, because then you can navigate them and know, oh, this task is that task and that task is this task, sort of thing. So I would use it that way. You've still got the communication and the navigation in there. The challenge would become if those two requirements. It would be highly unlikely those two requirements were completely separate product areas with no permissions. But we can we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I'm not planning for what I can't conceive right a second. So anyway, a bug, something that wasn't ironed out though, could be tackled in different initiatives. Yes. Yeah. Um, so what I did is a bit of a side quest. No, low key. No, no. Bit of a side quest. I decided to go into profile cards, and I opened up a can of worms on myself because it kind of broke my mental model a little bit. So I introduced. I want to introduce two extra fields to the user. I want to introduce their title and their location. Right. The location for their time zone is the goal there, so we can actually say, oh, they're in a different time zone. I shouldn't schedule a meeting or whatever. So it's that feature, and I got the robot to Master Art. Did I say hello, by the way? I apologize if I did not. Um, I know I read out your comment, but I apologize if I did not say hello. Um, so I have no, not that one. I like it. Dragged everything but the window I wanted across. That's funny. Um, yes. So what I want to do is where you have a username, right now it shows the email under it, which I don't agree with, so that's fine. So what I want to do is introduce a profile card. You're not, it's okay, I was only crying for the last 10 minutes. I am deeply apologetic, genuinely apologetic. I did not say hello. But welcome. Have you ever considered the environment about being an absolute legend? Master Art, I don't know. Maybe they have. Rambling Geek, good afternoon. So, yeah, so this is the sort of thing where I'm going to put a profile card in so that when you hover over a name or a badge, it will show you the card underneath, common stuff. It'll show the email so you can copy it if you need to, and the teams they're attached to. A user can be attached to multiple teams in this, by the way. So projects, teams overlap. So we have teams, development team, test team, etc. Users can be attached to one or more teams, and projects are standalone there. So teams are associated to projects. Oof, that's horrible. We'll be fixing that later. Yeah. So the goal is that teams will be attached to projects. A lot of these screens, by the way, are from the older thing, so I haven't changed a lot. They just kind of ported over what it could. Yeah. But I recommend our book club at work to read systems thinking, and everyone found it boring. um, Thinking in systems is the book, yes. It always gets me being in themes because I just derail everything. I'm trying to get better at just deciding when I'm distracted. That's a challenge I have. I listened to a podcast the other day, and she had a nice framing for getting used to systems thinking. Zoom out one click further than you normally would. What you're assuming to be true, what you're doing to work, what is it the assumptions are wrong, how do you validate it? Yeah. What's the stack of this? This is a Angular 21 front end right this second with a complete .NET backend. So we have I'll show you the picture in a second. .NET services. No, Loki, no. buddy. No, no, you're not coming sitting on my lap. No, nope. um, so, for reference, this is Kaizu. Kaizu consists of two parts: Liquid Sky and Control Tower. So Kaizu, um, hello, buddy. Yeah, um, he is best friend. Yes. Yeah, yeah. Hey, bud. You okay? Yeah. Is it cut him out now? Finally. Yeah, it does. It's decided that you can be invisible to the camera. You just need to keep moving. He doesn't, by the way, he doesn't want my love. What he wants to do is go upstairs and jump on my wife. But there's a thing blocking the stairs, so he can't get up there. So that's why he's crying. He doesn't actually want to be here. He likes the bed. So he wants to run upstairs and lie on the bed. But he's not allowed. I wish his motives were not quite as transparent. Loki, I do need it. I need the space to have a doggy cat. Um, so anyway, Kaizu, it consists of two parts. It consists of Liquid Sky and Control Tower. Liquid Sky is the front end, or the back end, the actual system. Control Tower is a management system that can manage things like subscriptions, etc., going forward, clients, etc. So it's an entire system built around Kafka. So we have Kafka as a kind of the backbone for everything. Angular clients. We're using GraphQL in here. Auth0 is used for the auth. We've got MongoDB, we've got Postgres. There's a lot of stuff going on. And I'm happy to talk about any of it. You're always welcome to ask any questions about how or why. I'm open to opinions and thoughts on this. Even if they're bad, I'm okay with bad opinions. Um, I'm okay with opinions, even if they challenge me. Um, they're not bad opinions. But yeah, and a lot of this is about me just kind of exercising a lot of the things I've learned over the years of development. Now I've been doing this for a long time now, so yeah, I'm definitely open to ideas and feedback. I won't always take feedback on because I have to be practical about what I can do and what I understand. I'm a big believer in building the tool I know, not the tool that someone else expects me to build. Uh, is Lenny still AI focused? He used to listen to it, but all the AI takes made me roll my eyes. I'm okay with opinions as long as we always agree. If you always agree with everyone you work with, you probably need a new team. Because it means you're not digging in enough. You're not challenging. So anyway, um, I've been streaming for half an hour. I haven't touched a line of code, and the chances are that we might not touch a line of code, but we might be digging in a little deeper because I was going into profile cards. So I introduced this lookup. I created a lookup for this. Um, I struggle with everyone being wrong. Yeah, it happens. So basically, I want to be able to allow a user to say where they are to give the time, right? So I had to pull in a database of cities, and I created a searchable um, uh, endpoint of cities. So now I can let's do it this way. By the way, I know this is not advised, by the way, to do it this way, but this is the simplest way I know of right this second. I have it as a review point to remove this in the long term. Um, this has actually been flagged as a security risk doing it this way. I've yet to research what I need to change, but it's the way I know of being able to give me my access token so I can use other tools. Yeah, it's heavy AI stuff. I think that's why I've enjoyed more with meta thoughts than how to do product dev as of late. Things more about the shape of work and the way we go about it at meta level versus Anthropic PM, OpenAI. I am not anti-AI. I just have I want to use it as a tool to help me build better software. And I don't want to let it do the software for me because I still have not seen anything that resembles amazing code with it. And I still care about what I'm producing. So um, I get that I can produce things 10 times faster as long as I let go of the quality. So anyway, the search here, um, random name. So I can do Hoboken and I can find that that's in there. I can do Palm Springs. Is that a thing? Is that a city? Yeah. Palm Springs, Florida. Palm Springs, North America. So it's giving me the time zone. Palm Springs, California, America, Los Angeles. So it's giving me the city. So the idea is you'd select your city and that gives you the time zone. So yeah. Um, undertone on that Netflix CTBO. Combo is more about people and shape of work. Heavily opinionated, of course, by now. We can afford to pay insane for people, which most of us can still not a combo that's reachable by most with a grain of salt. Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out if this conversation that I really, yeah. I don't know if Netflix, I don't think Netflix pays insane for what they ask. That's the thing. I think they pay fairly. Well, they pay well to get the best. Um, and it seems insane because you can't comprehend those numbers, but yeah. So anyway, right, but look deeper into that 600K, I say. It's up to 600K and it is based upon how much effort you want to put in there as a grind, right? So yeah. So profile. So this opened up a can of worms. So last night I'm sat here and I'm thinking, okay, now I need to go and update the user profile on the back end. So how do I update the user profile? Seems really simple. But again, I paused and thought, well, hold on. User profile. What is user profile? I don't have anything that's necessarily user profile right now. So in tenant management, which is normally managed by settings, teams. This is tenant management, right? These users are in here. But this person, um, this person exists. They exist as a person first, but then they have a membership to my tenant. So who owns what data and what does it mean? So I started digging in deeper here. So I have this active badge, and right now in the data, active exists here, and it shouldn't do because active is context of this tenant. If Jeffrey Winkle is signed up to a different tenant, if I'm a user that's moving around, I'm a consultant, etc., I have different roles, different permissions, different teams in different tenants, but my email might not change, and who I am doesn't change, so my name isn't in control of the system that takes it. So now I have a challenge because who owns what part of what data? And I kind of went back and forth a little bit on Claude with this because I have an ongoing project in Claude for everything Kaizu, and it has all the context of all the designs. So it's the instructions are to hold me up against myself and my own standards, so I don't deviate. So when I've got something like this, I kind of discuss it. But it did get me thinking, and it didn't give me a clear answer. Um, and now I'm questioning if I have. It's funny that something that should be so simple, this little card, is something that requires deeper thought because the approach I take towards development, the approach of build what you know and not anything else, does mean that when you come up against something like this, it might require a little bit of refactoring to accommodate what I need to do here. Um, Uh, I agree with that. Yeah, context is the whole builders versus developers. I agree with that. I think that I like to hear is conviction and willingness to adapt potentially. Take DHH, one of the most opinionated person on the internet. I don't agree with his opinions all the time because they are true for him, not necessarily for me. But he does things for a reason, usually, his reasons. And his conviction behind it. That's what I can appreciate when so many leaders are like, why are we doing this? Because Google did it. Are we Google? Yes, I wholeheartedly agree with that part. Um, maybe originally marginally code has to be reviewed, and time to review is now the biggest cost, in my opinion. So maybe it changed that. They're doing a thing. Why do they get away with doing that thing? Companies are having AI review too. The two people I know are different companies of self-hosted models and Git systems. Yeah. So what I'm questioning here is what is user data and what is tenant data, and ultimately this user has a membership to this tenant. This user is still a person without the tenant. Um, Fact Warrior, welcome in. I apologize. I'm still getting used to the layout in here. So, um, and Laserdog, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Fact Warrior. You redeemed you first, but yeah, everyone gets a first. By the way, that's the purpose of this. You all get a first. Um, I enjoyed the combo. Didn't expect to get into that before 8 a.m. this morning. Been top of my mind. I think I'm getting too later. So sorry about getting heavy. So no, this stream is not. I'm not worried about these conversations. They're on topic. These are things that affect us all as developers. It's perfectly fine if you're interested in that sort of conversation. If you do want to continue those conversations, there is a Discord in the cards below. I know everyone's got Discords and you sign up to 1 million of them, but if you're interested in that sort of conversation, the Discord's always there. There are people in there that do engage a little bit more from time to time. So, yeah. Frank, Thursday I see a stream. Thursday I see a stream. How you doing? Good morning. Yeah. Doesn't need a reason. Oh dear. Um, okay, so no, just because someone yells loudly. Actually, I'm going to share this. I don't like sharing stuff I do, so I decided to do something yesterday I don't normally do. I will share it in a second. I decided to try something new, so I put an opinion out there. Where is it? Profile, posts. How do you share a link? I decided to play around with Substack and see what it felt like. But I'm still trying to figure out how do I do a thing. How do you? Oh, there you go. Copy link. There we go. How do icons work? I was playing and I was writing some thoughts down. These thoughts may not make sense, but we'll see. That was over the course of a day when I was trying to focus. Um, Being listened to does. I feel like you're attacking me specifically. um, no, I write things every now and then. I do not write the blog, and I'm not looking for feedback on it. I'm just saying, there you go. I wrote a thing. If you wanna read it and comment or whatever, you can do. McNets, hello. How you doing? Okay, so I've got to figure out the back end piece of this. So right this second, I have the ability to change the name, the email, the active, etc. Active though is not this user. It can't be this user now. because uh, the uh, Darren, thank you very much for the sub. Appreciate it. Well, not specifically because I don't like writing things normally. I just kind of was in a mood to write something, so I wrote it, but it is just out there. It's fine. TBD isn't a play on to be determined. No, it's not. It just works, and it gets really confusing in meetings when everything's assigned TBD. Um, so I need to move some of these things around, right? I need to move. I don't often. I haven't had the chance to do it, but I also do stream gameplay. I play games. I love games on TBD Developer. Yeah. Um, oh, I don't know this. This won't let me do this. If you want to watch real software development, by the way, I would recommend checking out maybe streams barely fit, which I don't know if I no, I probably don't. Because there's no commands running, is there? Um, barely fit is a yeah, the bot needs constant kicking. Yeah, yeah, right. But maybe it develops barely fit on stream. Streams a couple of times a week as well. It's a great place to go and hang out, maybe stream and learn something. Will I be able to stream games? That is the intention. Yes, I do have all the profiles set up for the game stream. I do have the stuff. I just need to kind of move things around. Yeah, this is absolutely fake software development. Yeah, 100%. Because what I'm the reason I'm procrastinating, the reason I'm chatting so much is because I'm still trying to get my head around this, and I was hoping, I was actually up until 2 a.m. Um, I was really hoping to get some of this kind of figured out because it struck me just how much this little task opened up as far as a problem. So to get the profile card in there, I need to put the location of the user. The location in theory doesn't change, so location can sit with the user data, maybe. But their job title changes. Right. So I want to put title and location on there. But then again, like I said, it opened up this. Well, hold on. Active is actually now wrong because active is not active is the right word because it's active in this tenant, but it's not really active on the user. It's a membership to this tenant that you have. And then when you add a user, you don't own the name. This is an old screen, by the way. So this is a leftover from Prime 18, I think, in the old UI. So you don't own the name. You send an invite. It's adding a user is not adding a user. It's inviting a user. Why is that frozen now? Um, so this starts to open up. Now I've got a problem because tenant management and user are in like they're tightly linked, and it does make sense. Membership does belong in the tenant. You are still a tenant member. From a data perspective, the way that I lay this out currently is I have users, and tenant users is that linking table. But now that active flag, this becomes tenant membership, and that active flag moves to here to make this work properly. And I've got to make these changes now, right? Even though I'm doing the profile card, I have little choice. I've just got to kind of figure out what the design is. Now, my thought is, from a using perspective, what I'll do is allow you to set your profile. Where do you see what user and what tenant? Is that like, well, in this view, I am in a tenant, right? I am logged in as this company, right? Which I don't have much data on right a second. But I am logged in to a user in this tenant right now. I signed up as this user and got this tenant. Which users are in which tenants is a question for Control Tower, right? So Control Tower is the backend management piece. Right now there is a UI, but I've not run it in a while. But ultimately, what happens is when you sign up to use Kaizu, right this second, it sends the new tenant over here, generates a subscription, and posts it back here, which then activates the features to allow that. So you are looking at the tenant view here, right? So that's what I'm saying. The user here, and I realize that the UI is very inconsistent across all these screens, the way I do things, the way I lay things out, but that's another challenge. This active here is now no longer, this active is still for this, but it's for this tenant. I don't own this name. I don't own any of this data. I just assign it. Now, if I invite a user and they're not a verified user already because they're in a different tenant, then I can change this email because I might have sent it to the wrong email. So active is relevant at that context then, but it's not user activity, it's activity in the tenant. And it's the lack of it in that old system that matters. But isn't that fine? If you log in and have no active tenants, then you just need to see nothing because you don't have a tenant to choose. Correct. Yeah. But I need to move these things around. And I'm trying to debate, as a user, do I own highly doubt that. Why is this locking up? As a user, I obviously own my name and the email address is associated to me. Do I own the title, or does the tenant own the title? And do I own my location? I think I do. So I'm thinking that what I want to do is introduce a profile page into which I can set my name, and I can set my location, and I can set my title, unless it matters to the organization, which I don't think it does. And likelihood is most users of the system like this are not going to be in multiple tenants. There's larger organizations that sometimes have multi-tenant, in which case your title isn't going to change anyway, so the title still sticks with you. If you're a consultant, your title isn't going to change because you're a consultant and you're navigating around. I've done the thing before too, many years ago. So I was just disappointed others before too. Yes, that's what streaming is. Yeah, so verified is still relevant because obviously they have to click the email, validate the email, and I've got a broken process somewhere in that piece. This is a little hard to test time and time again. So yeah, so I've got to figure that out. I got to figure out where that lives from a behavioral standpoint. So is active still matters on this request because it does change it, but what it changes. So I need to move things around. I need to move. This becomes tenant membership to be more accurate, because then it's data. Right now it's a linking table essentially, but active is relevant, and then yeah, so it changes quite a lot there. The title doesn't belong to the user, and neither does this at this point. In this instance, the user is just the email and whether it's verified. So active gets removed and name gets removed if the user owns it. Now, the reason tenant management and organization management exist as separate things is because this is data that the organization configures. This is data that the system needs to manage the tenant, right? So I think that some of this belongs. I think user. It's not tenant though. That's the problem, and it's not organization. because this is for this organization the stuff that matters about like the team configuration, the projects, etc. They're not. Yeah, some of these might get condensed or moved around. But this is the important thing, right? The important thing here is that what I'm doing is I am thank you for the three stream street, Frank. I am evaluating and assessing the correct thing for the platform, right? I am happy to move things around, condense things, delete things, change things. And it's just that this one simple request has kind of thrown a grenade into my plans, right? My intention was to move towards notifications, but I wanted to clean up some of the stuff first and thought that it would be a little bit more stream friendly. I don't think that is. So introduce cities query review, that is done. So what we'll do is, actually, I'll show you what that looks like. Let's go create a PR for that one. Liquid scan. No, it's not pre-rex. Although liquid scan pre-rex does have something here. Oh, and I did fix the 1080p thing, by the way. It is not. It should now be nice and 1080p 60. I did kind of give up on that. I didn't go 1080 30. Deploy. Okay, deploy is going to open. So I have two branches. Deploy or the this is actually the prereq stuff. So this is all the Docker stuff that sets everything up. This is the configures the database, does migrations, etc. So I added in the file right now for the data to import that city data and extracted that from geonames. Not happening, Loki. He's now at the bottom of the stairs crying. So this needed changing to do the city's data. So what I'll do is create a PR for this. And I know I'm a solo developer. I don't need to be doing PRs. It's a little bit more work than it used to be, but it is useful for me to keep maintaining this process. So what should happen is when I do this, when we go into delivery, LS F. Interesting, I put it on front end, but yeah. LSF2, yeah, there you go, there's a PR. There you go, it updated. It pushed in the background. I'm solo on some hobby game dev stuff, and I prefer the PR process. Keeps me thinking of things in meaningful. Yes, and I'm trying to get better at that. I'm trying to be more rigid. That's why I'm doing this now. So this has an open pull request, right? I can see it. There we go. So I know that that's there. And then if I merge that, I know I'm doing it off screen. But yeah. No, no, buddy. It's okay. You're not going upstairs. Don't, no, buddy. Okay. Okay. Uh, you're a headless dog. The camera's smart enough to cut your head out. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so that PR's merged. Let's go. So Signal R should be pushing the update. So as it gets the update to say that that's merged, um, that should be that should update. Liquid Sky, forecast, development. LSB2, introduce, forecast. 19 files changed. Yeah. So this introduced the city, it introduced the view, showed the graphical piece, it introduced the um, trigram search into the text, which is built into Postgres. I removed. I learned something as I was going through that I was basically creating too many DB contexts, um, which was interesting. So yeah, that's fascinating. So that should update in a second. Interesting. It's actually when I'm pulling it, it's getting the fresh data. That's why. So is that closed? Yeah, that's closed now. Interesting. That should push. I should fix that. I die a little inside when I watch people push the main on solo projects. Commitments start becoming try again 3. Yes. Yes. Okay, so we'll merge that. It's like that. Yeah, bypass the rules is fine. Okay. And then what we do, it's merged. It should update eventually. Yeah, I don't know what Signal is doing. Signal might not be doing what I need to do here. Yeah, there you go, it's merged. Okay, so they're now merged. And again, everywhere I go and look. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. I love you too, Doug. Thank you for smearing your nose right across my glasses. That makes it so easy to see. Smell. You can't stop being a little baby, you know that, right? Just lay down and relax. Or not. I got side eye. Okay. So the reason I'm merging these now is because I need to. I don't show the badge on here. I show it there, but I don't show it. I suppose that doesn't really matter there, does it? So let's stop. Let's check that. Check out that. Update that. Prereqs is all on main until I put in a better structure. I'm listening to a headset while making breakfast. Really, in the case he's talking to his dog too, I imagine he's talking to his wife or something. It's hilarious in that context. Yes, I do. I do talk to him. Yes, it's a good point. Okay, so that should have all the changes. Uh, data migration, update bucket and columns. Yep, that's got everything. So now I can go here and I can delete that branch and I can delete the trap branch, which removes the remote, which cleans that up for me. I'm trying to get into that discipline of doing that, by the way. That's something that I'm doing deliberately from my machine, is to make sure I delete the remote content, the remote branch once I've merged it. Foundation didn't need to change for this, so that's fine. I still need to go back and rename Foundation shortcut to be core or common. It's not shared kernel. It's not. It's long ago diverged from being domain. I probably go common or core. Yeah, one of those two. So let's check out main. Oh no, development. check out development on Liquid Sky, and then update. "19 files in one commit." Yeah, that's fine. And then I can delete them all. So let's start that, make sure it's running again. So we have two dogs, Loki and Taylor. Taylor's lost a baby, except she's scared of the food tub in the kitchen, so is currently refusing to eat because it moved once and scared her. Hello, buddy. Just so you know, streaming with a dog on my lap is not what I intended to do today. So, yes, now we get into the tough parts. So we've merged everything there. Everything's good. Um, yeah, fine. Everything's fine. Yeah. What part of the stream thus far has anything to do with your intentions at the start? I had plans on getting coding done. It's fine. None of this has gone to plan. It's fine. There you go. So now it's merged. It crosses it out. It shows it. Okay. That should catch up eventually. Oh, I merged that. Trust that. No. Well, that's exactly why I'm perfectly fine with conversation. I'm okay describing what I'm doing or discussing. I'm okay to show diagrams and stuff. I long ago, I've been streaming for 7 years, so it isn't something that I'm unaccustomed to. Sometimes you get to be more productive, and I think some people want to see the coding more. So I'm always mindful of making sure that people, uh, yeah, yeah, here for the vibes. Yeah. Streaming is hard though. It does take a lot more out of you than you think it does. Um, uh, yeah. So yeah, trying to keep on a schedule, trying to move, trying to keep doing things and stay motivated, all because motivation, wanes at times. It's hard to do. So luckily, I've built up a community. I think that understands that, is trusting of that, is willing and keeps showing up every time I start when I hit that start stream. Because I just took off several months, and took off another couple of weeks of not streaming again. People people do still support, which I appreciate. So this here is not marked out because I wasn't running the app when I merged it, which means that it crossed it. It doesn't cross it out because it didn't get the GitHub message, and that GitHub message is now lost. Um, I believe. Actually, I need to bookmark this in some way, shape, or form. I gotta move that off screen for a second. Let's see if I can make it happen because it's going to bug me otherwise. It's a unique problem of in reality, I wouldn't bring the GitHub service down at the same time as bringing the application down because if things were merged or changed, I'd lose that context. Um, and you can't get past events that I know of. So what I'm going to do, let's see if I can get. I can't share this on stream because if I share it, I have to restart because then you would get every GitHub event I have. So yeah, that only tracks when again it's the same problem. It tracks when it's open. They said I'd be fine if I didn't show up to the streams, increase no job pay. Okay, so I lose that because I didn't have the. So it's the same problem. I didn't have the stream of GitHub events open. So I use Shmee. I keep adding Shmee as a webhook uh, proxy. So when an event happens in GitHub, it fires off to SME, and SME I connect to SME when I start the application. So there is actually a uh, I dragged that across then and then thought, did I close the secrets? There is actually. Not having to look around a £50 dog for this is not fun. So SME starts up with its own service, and that becomes the tunnel as events come from GitHub. But the tool that I use on the SME website to go to, which again I can't share because it has the identifier in it, um, also relies upon that being open when the event happens to receive the event. So, how do you feel about pronouncing SWE like a word? JT, welcome in. Hope you're well. Yeah, even more rigged. It's completely rigged here, so it never actually worked. Um, okay, we got a little time left, so I think this becomes, and this is exactly why I'm doing this way, by the way, because now this this could be an epic. This requirement could be an epic, right? But now I want to track the tasks that I need to do to create this. So we're going to introduce membership first. New tenant users to membership. Uh, and this is also I can move active, and I also have some real overlaps on UI there. By the way, Doug, you being sat in my lap. This notebook that I have attracts dog hair, apparently, and it just keeps getting covered in dog hair. Overlapping messages. Ask that. And users we need to active to be a membership concern. So again, membership gets introduced because there's a need for it. We should rename tenant users to tenant membership and active for the user membership. Update management. Update update user. Yo, Samuel, hello. How you doing? Update view. One day we will rename that mojo. I promise we'll rename view. I don't know what we're renaming it to yet, but we'll rename it. Let's go into the development team. I wonder why test team isn't that. Oh, because backend is assigned to the development team and not to. Yeah, okay. It's still, yeah. Bringing face code spaces. You can check if bringing faces consume the code. Interesting. Uh, you are a Brit, right? Yes, I am from England originally. I do live in the US now. I've been here for 18 years. There's code from 21 repositories in the stack. Mediator sagas, mediator artbots. Ooh, people are getting my code in that way. Do you have it? Knickknack shop. Word squish, Twitch learn. Get screwed. I'm from the UK, get me out of here. That's exactly what this looks like. So this is interesting. Mediator Sagas is an opinionated, a very opinionated take on extending Mediator to do more than it should do. So that's interesting. Consumer Dispatcher, that's project, isn't it? Yes, it is. Chatty. This is a PHP MVC framework that I wrote 14 years ago. So on my website. Interesting. Roast potatoes in there. Okay. Yep. Definitely poisoning the data set. That's interesting. Let's have a look. TP Friends. All the TP Friends libraries as well. All the different game tracker versions. Pizza as a service is in there. Water drink water's in there. Pet home. Terrible CQRS. Do I miss Greg's? I do miss Greg's. My daughter misses Greg as well. Um, yeah, yeah. It was, listen, Mister, stop crying. Sat on my lap. If there's noise cancelling headphones, they'd be just distracting me more. They don't want my code is too high quality. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, yeah. I'll make you a deal. Smuggle me into the US and I'll smuggle you 1,000 Greg sausage rolls. I can't promise they'll be safe to consume. I don't know. Um, huge, huge, including that. Update user. No, not update. Sure. Yeah. Cool. Big management. Recreation. Sure. Um, Mojo finally acknowledged you. uh, Loki, you gotta sit down, buddy. You want to sit there crying, you can sit there crying, but yeah, I get on the app once a week. Okay. Um, this is on YouTube. The stream chat worries me because I don't know if I'm seeing everything and I don't know if YouTube is working. So um I really need to figure out restream again. So we're going to include SQL views, tenant man. I mean, I can't get away from doing this. I need to test this out as I go. So yeah. So we're going to move tenant users to membership. I'm going to put it under this task because it does matter here. Once we've got membership handled and active, actually, that's a good point. Why don't I have the trip? Oh, there you go. It's gone round trip. Okay. Um, active is the reason, so that's why we're doing it as part of that. Where do you think you're going, buddy? Where do you think you're going? You're not going upstairs. No. So once we have that, then we get to, do we need to remove the name from the user management piece? Because when you're enrolling someone into the system, you're really just sending them an invite to the email. Everything else they own is the way I'm thinking about that. Why is this jamming up? Something going wrong with something not disposing of objects properly in this. Something is going wrong in that diagram, which will be fixed by a complete redesign of the screens. But anyway, when you add a user, if you don't add a name, the name comes later when they set their name. Mm-hmm. The user exists once in the system. You're really just adding a membership record, and it creates the user record the first time without a name. They then go in, and so it does. So user name does belong on user. And forgive me for I'm exploring this at the same time as I'm going through it, so I apologize if it's random and whatnot. So, but the user themselves will set this. This email will be created if it doesn't exist already, and if the user exists, when you send the invite, so it is the membership pending then. It's verified on the user. This no longer exists here. Epic. Hello, how you doing? Loki, my leg is going to sleep, buddy. Do you not care about these things? I'm doing good. I'm doing good, apart from the Loki sat on my lap right this second, which you'll partially see. It's being a baby. So yeah, the username stays on there. The user's name stays on there because the user will set that themselves. So they own that piece. Once they are verified, the email is unchangeable. They always think they're a small public blessing now. Yes. Yeah. He's a 50-pound pit mix. He's a big crybaby. The microphone's there, and I keep talking as if I'm talking to the mic. What it was. But they didn't get anything done. Okay. Low key buddy. Okay. I just saw a job role. Nice. Saw it? Did it run off? Agentic AI backend engineer. Agentic AI. You want someone on the side. You're a crybaby, stop. Hello. You're good. Come on. So user still gets that. I think I just focus on membership right a second. Like focus on that part. Craving attention. He's not. He's actually craving. He's craving getting away from me so he can go upstairs and sleep on the bed. That's the annoying thing. He's not. He doesn't actually want me. He doesn't want me to show him attention. He wants to leave me because the bed is way more interesting. So yeah, and the bed has the window next to it that he can look out onto the street and bark at everyone, which is why he's not allowed to go upstairs because he barks at everyone walking the dogs. Okay, so what am I doing? I am going to create a new branch, planning in progress, profile cards. We need LSB4. Let's copy that. Let's go create a new branch. This will require changes to both Foundation and Liquid Sky. So this is a shared branch. It's going to be feature because I'm going to pass this data forward. It's going to have impact into the views and everything. So it's going to go in an event, which means I'm going to change all the data. It'd be fine if other people didn't exist outside the window. I think he'd still find something to bark at. He's a big donkey. LSB4. Uh, okay. User membership. Okay. Now they're both starting. They know what time it is. Okay. So let's stop doing that. So this is one of those challenges where I've defined, and I know I broke out organization management from tenant management a long time ago because tenant management is about the things that exist in the tenant, and the users might not always be able to do something in there. So this is more how the tenant exists. Organization management is things the tenant, the administrators, and the users control within the tenant, right? So it's their organization. So that's why tenant and organization are broken out there. Um, some of these decisions make less sense when I'm looking at them under a different lens. So I'm trying to just make sure that I don't have a knee-jerk reaction to, oh, I need to move this, or I need to merge this. I'm not afraid of merging or breaking or combining or breaking these things apart if I need to. It's about doing the right thing for the code, not for the simplicity. So right this second, this is still valid. The update of user is still valid because I'm not getting rid of name in this change. What we're doing is changing where is active points to. So we're going to need some migrations. We have to do LSB4 for deploy as well. So new branch, feature, LSB4, move 10 users to membership. User memberships. Create that. This would be an interesting one because now I have two branches for the same story, for the same task. Because we're going to have to do some database changes. We're going to have to do some code changes as part of this. Yeah. So it's 51. Hello, welcome in. Oh, nice. This shows me subscriptions on YouTube as well. Thank you for the new subscriber. Why JetBrains? Why not? Why not? I'm a long-time Visual Studio user from, uh, okay, if I've got the money and I like having tools that I understand and are comfortable with, I don't see an issue with that. Yes, there are free options, um, but I uh, I've used Visual Studio. I used Visual Studio from the early 2000s up until um, probably mid 2020, 2021. I started picking up Rider because I'm a long time user of um, ReSharper. I started picking up Rider and I just transitioned to it because I just found it to be a much faster and smoother IDE overall. Um, yeah, it does depend on where you live. It depends on what things pay, but I think having the tool available, having the suite available to me is very valuable. I use Data Grip. I use um, WebStorm. So yeah, but it's, I mean, again, yeah, there's free tools. You can definitely do everything with Visual Studio Code. You can do things with other IDEs. The tool set does not need it, but I'm a big fan of the. Again, I'm using Aspire here. I can manage all my Aspire project stuff in here properly. I can do all the things I need to do. I don't need to jump through hoops. And if memory serves, some of the C# stuff in some of the dev toolkit stuff in VS Code now is paid. Yeah, I pay for the entire JetBrains suite. I pay $179 a year at this point. So I was paying $800 a year for a VS subscription, and yes, I got things like MSDN stuff. So I got images, I got OSs and stuff. But yeah, I pay maybe 279 or whatever it is for this. Yeah. Yes, we do have options. So yes, I mean, for me, I have the money. I can afford to buy it, to pay the subscription fee for it. It gives me a great deal of value. And we all spend $2,000 over it every month now, so the idea is insignificant. That is becoming more true, right? The IDE does matter less if you're just doing everything with AI. However, I'm still I'm going to label myself as an artisan at some point because I'm going to do things the old way, um, with a mix of the new tools. Oh yeah, the $50 a month. Yeah, the $50 Azure credits. Yeah, um, which I don't I no longer use the site, but Microsoft never realized that I stopped paying, and they still give me the $50 credit every month. So I have a site up there right this second. My old game library site is still there, and I don't pay a penny for it. But it's got a SQL database and the app service. Yeah, yeah. But yeah. Oh, if you work for someone, they should buy a license. Yes. Yeah. Azure bill is under $2. Yes. Clouds. When it comes to cloud stuff, I need to get more. I pay $25 a month for a. I know that I can look at other options, but right this second, I pay $25 a month at most for my hosting of my current game library site, which I'm okay with because it is fast and it's always open. Yeah. Uh, but yeah, other options do exist, and that can get it cheaper. So, but yeah, it's you know. Sirs, by the way, what do you use? I mean, I assume you're productive in what you use, but what do you use? And have you tried other options? If you're using, don't forget, JetBrains stuff is free for if you're doing open source stuff. If you're doing commercial stuff with it, yeah, you can't use it. But if you're just doing if you're tinkering and learning, you can use JetBrains. Yeah. Azure pays maybe. People ban you from the internet. You can't ban me. I'm too artisanal. VS Code mostly for personal. Oh, C++. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Then it doesn't matter. Yeah. Don't see any upsides in C-Line. Yeah. Again, what matters most individually, if you're working on your own stuff, then what matters most is, are you productive and are you comfortable? It doesn't matter what other people think. If you want to use Vi, you use Vi. If you want to, like, I'm a big mouse user. Mojo's a big keyboard user, right? So he's always like, hey, use a keyboard shortcuts. And I'm like, no, I'm using the mouse. It's just the way I've learned. It's the way I'm comfortable with. I don't necessarily need to change things. If I choose to later, I can change things. I can explore new things. I should always be open to trying it. But yeah, what if I'm unproductive and uncomfortable? There's no helping you. I'm sorry. There's just no helping you in that case. It is what it is. Use Vim. Yeah, you'll be way more productive. What are you doing? What are you doing? Okay. However, we're not going to go. We kind of already deal in a lot. Vibe coding. Don't necessarily want to take you to vibe coder. Fix repos. We're going to go Lady of Code today, I think. Yeah. So, not much coding done, but I think I've made progress mentally. It was able to show a lot of what I've added recently. Things are working, which is good. I'm going to use my 40% keyboard today out of spite of using mouse. Knock yourself out. Have fun. Yeah, you can see things are starting to come together. Things are working in general. I've got some refactoring to do, so I'm going to get that done over the next couple of days to make this a little bit more friendly. Hopefully by next week I have all user profile stuff in, so then we can hover over the card, and then the expectation is that that's what you'd see on the card. You see, hey, Jeffrey is a product manager. The active now I'm not going to put in there. I'm not going to put that stuff in. Your teams, etc., and show your stats on what you've currently got moving. Yeah. Yeah, we should all be able to be productive and not feel like we have. I don't like the idea of you're doing it wrong because you're not doing what I'm doing. That's the big thing, right? It is you use what you need to use to be productive. That's what matters most. So, I will be back next week. I will return on Tuesday to do more of this. Hopefully over the next couple of days I can get a lot of this stuff knocked out and get all this stuff done so that we have profile cards in. Once we have profile cards in, from there I do really need to start tackling some of the bigger things, and we might tackle calendar integration before I tackle anything else. At the moment, I'm exploring there's only two options in this world: mine and the incorrect one. It's kind of funny. We started the stream on almost the exact same thread, so yeah. So introducing notifications is a bigger challenge. So notifications is something I need to tackle because that involves me doing the change stuff, figuring out what changed when, how to time things properly, how to schedule out in notifications, etc. So there's a lot into introduce notifications. Active discussions, I want a more discussion thread style comments piece, so you can reply to someone and it become an actual discussion that's tracked. So encouraging people to put discussions about a task or a deliverable inside the application so that the visibility is there for everyone to get access to, so it doesn't live outside. Yeah. by the way, I don't trust one to be a frog. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. So yes. Okay, so let's go raid, and I will be back on Tuesday. If you are interested in anything, Kaizu, Liquid Sky, you want to talk about the project, you want to learn more about why I'm doing things or whatever, or you want to talk about your own projects, you want to share your projects. There's Discord linked in the cards below. You are more than welcome to join the Discord and engage in chat on all this. So um, yeah, don't forget. Ow! Don't forget ow. Um, um, maybe I'll. Ah, come on. So I've got a dog on my lap, which making this harder. Yeah. Frank streams a couple of times a week as well. Frank's stream is also a great place to go hang out if you're interested in .NET stuff. Frank is also a .NET developer, builds several applications, Azure URL shortener, and a 3D6 game have been some of the projects he's worked on stream. So definitely go check out Frank. Yep, see you next month. So let's go raid. Let's make sure that she's actually still streaming. Let's go raid Lady of Code. She's building, what's she doing? Bug fixing and looking at design stuff by the looks of it. So something different for us to go raid. So see you after the 15-hour workday, Mojo. Take care. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you. I'll see you again soon. Bye all.